My girlfriend and I are both massive fans of Hatsune Miku. Her for basically her entire life and me for about as long as we've been dating. So needless to say, when Miku Expo was finally announced to be coming back to the United States after 6 long years, we were both very excited. The only problem was we live in Southern California, and the only performance in our state was in San Jose, nearly 6 hours away from home. And just like that, our dreams of seeing the silly Wi-Fi girl live and in, the flesh, went up in smoke. Until, on February 23rd, months after tickets initially went on sale and sold out, and mere weeks before the tour was set to begin, 3 new tour dates were announced, including one in LA. I live in LA! Basically. Kind of. Close enough. That's not the point. The dream was alive. We were going to be able to go. We logged into the site, bought our tickets, planned our trip, and waited patiently, overflowing with excitement. Everything had fallen perfectly into place. We were going to go to a Hatsune Miku concert. But as the date of our concert approached and the tour began, troubling information started to surface. There had only been one show so far, but complaints were coming from every direction. The merch store was understocked, the entry time was weird, the production value wasn't up to par with previous years, the set list was shorter than the one in 2018, some people didn't like the set list at all, and worst of all, they replaced the hologram with a fucking TV screen. Surprising absolutely fucking nobody, fans were pissed, and they had every right to be. We had every right to be. This was unprecedented. It had straight up never happened before. Miku Expo had always used a mirror projection intricately designed to resemble a hologram and create the illusion that Hatsune Miku was real and really on stage. Previous Miku Expos had all used this hologram. Concerts in Japan were still using this hologram. This is not what anyone was expecting. This is not what anyone paid for. This was information that was intentionally omitted during the initial announcement and on the website where tickets were being sold. It was simply not what people were paying to see. And in a single moment, all excitement for the tour was sucked out of the fan base. And it certainly didn't help that the stage setup and production quality of the initial show was laughable. The performances on the screen looked flat and lifeless, little more than a 3D render trapped in a big black box. The LEDs set up on the stage were absolutely garish, and they made it blatantly obvious that this was nothing more than some random fucking TV screen. And to make matters worse, videos were being posted from the sides of the venue that showed that it was basically impossible to even see the screen if you weren't sitting directly in front of it. Top to bottom, this was a disaster. The entire community was up in arms. Memes were being posted, petitions were being made, and people were demanding their money back. Not that it mattered. The decision had already been made, the tickets had already been bought, and Krypton and Crunchyroll made it abundantly clear that they had no intentions of walking any of it back. A lot of people that were going, my girlfriend included, had already been to a Miku concert before. But for a lot of other people, myself included, this was going to be our first concert. This could be our only concert. This might be our only chance to see Hatsune Miku live and in person, and any hope we had of getting a true, authentic Miku Expo experience was being ripped away from us. I was justifiably devastated. If I was gonna sit around watching Hatsune Miku on an LED screen, I could have just stayed home and watched old concert footage on YouTube. Hell, it probably would have looked better because those concerts actually used the mirror projection and had functional lighting. But we already had our tickets, so we might as well go, right? The next few days were long and agonizing, with each subsequent piece of information about the concerts only making the disappointment worse. Any excitement I had for this concert was completely gone, and I didn't see any way for it to come back. But as the date of our concert got closer and closer and new venues had their shows and new information started to get posted, things slowly started to get better. Not quite bringing back the hologram better, but better nonetheless. They fixed the LED decorations, they pushed the stage lights back, they brought the screen forward, they upped the production value. Sure, the set list never got bigger, the merch tent never got restocked, and the hologram never came out, but the later concerts looked infinitely better than the original, and also somehow better than Coachella. And I finally had something to be excited about again. So when the day of the concert finally arrived, I was once again overcome with anticipation. The drive to LA was nice and uneventful, and like the obsessive nutjobs we are, my girlfriend and I spent the hour drive listening to her Vocaloid playlist to prepare ourselves for the night's festivities. It was ultimately a really fun drive, and when we actually got into the city, things did get a bit more interesting. I always really enjoy driving through LA. Sure, it has a lot of problems, but I honestly think the city is far more beautiful and interesting than people give it credit for. I mean, where else am I ever going to see things like the iconic LA skyline, this beautiful church, a pickup truck full of Lime scooters, or a fucking Hatsune Miku bus? What? Between traffic and parking, which by the way cost $35 fucking, we ended up arriving at the venue a little after 7:15. With doors opening at 6:30 and the concert starting at 8, we should have had plenty of time to get in, get to our seats, and get comfortable. Foreshadowing. The first thing I noticed upon arrival was just how incredibly well dressed everyone was. Obviously, there were a lot of cosplayers, primarily representing Miku and Rin, and they all looked really, really cool. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of any of them because I didn't have time to ask their permission, and I'm not a fucking psycho. Take notes, Comic-Con fans. But it wasn't just the cosplayers that looked great, everybody was absolutely dripped out from head to toe. The sense of style present in every corner of the crowd was insane. The fits were fire across the board. Everyone there was very clearly dressed, like Vocaloid was an intensely important part of their development, and I mean that as a compliment. Also, someone showed up in a Miku car. The other thing I noticed was the size of the line. Doors were supposed to open at 6:30, but when we arrived at 7:20, the line was still long enough to stretch around the entire block. It took us like 5 minutes to get to the back of the line, and at that point, we could barely even see the venue. Fortunately, the line moved really fast when it finally started moving, and we managed to get to our seats just after 8. Yeah, so we ended up being a little late, but surprising absolutely no one, so did the entire concert. Thanks to the concert getting slightly delayed, we ended up having just enough time to get to our seats and get comfortable without missing a single thing. I personally had a lot of worries going into this show. I was worried that the LED screen would look bad, I was worried that I wouldn't like the set list or even recognize any of the songs, I was worried that I wouldn't have a good view of the stage, I was worried that the LED setup would make the screen look even worse, I was worried about a lot of things. But my worries evaporated one by one as the lights dimmed and the countdown began. The atmosphere in a Miku concert is intense and infectious in a way that I cannot even begin to describe. There is this overwhelming feeling of love and excitement emanating from every person in the crowd. The audience waves their glow sticks in tune with the music, they cheer at the start and end of every song and sing along to the ones they know. Just the appearance of a color scheme on the LED strips is enough to send the crowd into a frenzy. These people are so in love with these stupid artificial singers, and their energy is intoxicating. I felt like I found God 6 times during this concert, and 5 of them were Miku, and 1 of them was Luca. Now, I understand that this type of behavior and atmosphere and energy is relatively commonplace for concerts in general, but I've been to other concerts before. Concerts that I really enjoyed, concerts for bands that I really like, bands that I still listen to today, and none of them made me feel even half the emotions I felt that night. I am not exaggerating when I say that I wept openly during the opening song. Like genuinely real tears and sobbing to fucking Miku, Miku, you can call me Miku, blue hair, blue tie, hiding in your Wi-Fi. Do you have any idea how insanely fucking embarrassing that would be if it wasn't so ridiculous?
Hi, editor's note. I feel the need to specify that I wasn't just crying at the first song they played for no reason. I've been listening to Miku by Anamanaguchi for 7 or 8 years now. I've been listening to it since middle school. It was my introduction to Vocaloid. It was the first Vocaloid song I ever listened to. It was the only Vocaloid song I had ever listened to for 6 years. This song is very, very important to me. I wasn't just crying at any random song. That doesn't make it any less ridiculous or embarrassing, though.
But beyond the opening number, the setlist as a whole was really, really great. I'm a bit more of a casual Vocaloid fan, so the majority of the songs were new to me, and I really enjoyed the learning experience. But that's not to say that I didn't recognize some of the more mainstream songs. I just didn't recognize most of the songs. But regardless of whether or not I recognized each individual song, I was having a hell of a time. They played Miku, World Is Mine, and Tell Your World because of fucking course they did. This is a Hatsune Miku concert, where do you think you are? I had never heard Unknown Mother Goose, Lucky Orb, or 10,000 Stars before, but they all quickly found their way onto my playlist. Vampire was a fun surprise, but honestly I probably should have seen it coming. And Hyper Reality Show and Vivid reminded me of exactly why I love Utsupi so much. And that's about it for the Miku songs I actually cared about. The encores were mid, and I don't remember anything else, so let's talk about some of the other Vocaloids. I've never really been the biggest fan of the twins, but Rin's performance of Tensai Rock was truly a sight to behold, and Len's rendition of Ghetto was silly as fuck. I love this goofy little guy. And their duet performance of Childish War single-handedly turned me into a die-hard Rin and Len fan after months of telling my girlfriend, you know, I don't really get what all the hype is about with those two. Luca got 2 separate songs, one as a solo act and the other in a duet with Miku, and both were absolute bangers. Neither one of these songs ended up being the one that I was hoping for, but I'm also kind of a basic bitch when it comes to Luca, so, you know, maybe that's for the best. Mako's cover of Fräulein Bibliotheca was fucking awesome and got me interested in a Vocaloid that I previously didn't know anything about. Kaito's rendition of Literacy was absolutely jaw-dropping, a visual and auditory masterpiece that easily sits alongside Miku, Unknown Mother Goose, and Childish War as one of the concert's many, many highlights. But the number one highlight of the entire concert was easily his and Mako's duet performance of On the Rocks. Because holy fucking shit, dude. The way the crowd reacted to this duet was insane. The energy in the room was near feral. These people were practically foaming at the mouth. I don't think I'd ever heard that song before, but now that I actually have, I kinda get it. I mean, I almost foamed at the mouth myself. This moment, more than any other, drove home just how life-changing an experience it is to attend a concert like this, surrounded by a community that loves these ridiculous creatures every bit as much as I do. And I felt true Vocaloid patriotism in the audience that night. I also felt true American patriotism when I looked down at the audience during this duet and saw that ocean of red and blue. On top of the set list, the visuals weren't all that bad either. The lighting effects were a massive upgrade from the footage of previous shows, and they actually enhanced the experience by quite a lot. I know a lot of fans are perpetually disappointed because the stages in Japan tend to look a lot better, but I'm a Nintendo fan living in America, so I'm kind of already used to just taking what I can get and shutting up. I was also really worried about the LED screen, but it actually ended up looking pretty good. I mean, not as good as, I don't know, maybe a mirror projection integrally designed to simulate a hologram, but it looked good, it looked fine, it looked like they were really there. Maybe they were. Do you think they heard me crying? That would be really embarrassing. All in all, my first Hatsune Miku concert was an incredible experience. Everything from the visuals to the setlist to the live band on stage to even the crowd itself was absolutely astonishing. I've heard stories of what it's like attending a Miku concert before, but I've always thought that it sounded a little silly. But now that I've actually been, I totally get it! My love of Vocaloid and my respect for the incredible artists making these songs has increased 100-fold. I look forward to massively increasing the number of songs, producers, and Vocaloids that I listen to. And I am already so deeply in love with the community that I am only just now starting to find my place in. And I hope to someday be able to attend another Hatsune Miku concert. Hopefully, one that actually has the damn hologram this time.